Hello everybody.
Next we cross London to what used to be called Middlesex, where we'll be hosted by Brentford. Kick-off on Sunday is at 2 p.m. and there's no proper UK TV coverage, this being a Sunday match thanks to our European involvement. So Brentford then, well, they've won 2, drawn 1 and lost 4 of their last 7. Their latest outing last weekend being a 1-0 defeat to PGMO Liverpool at Anfield, when yet another poor refereeing performance handed the home side 3 points. Brentford's 2 wins immediately prior to that reverse came at home to Forest and away to Chelsea. All of that has left them in 10th place with 50 points from the 35 games they've played so far. That means they've no real chance of going into Europe or of going down. Mid-table mediocrity, one might say, but all these things are relative. It's a position they would have died for only a few years ago. Daisy had a reasonably quiet time of things when we played them back in January. There was little transfer activity in the transfer window, and what activity there was either related to their development squad or came a bit late for inclusion in these pages. Daisy tells me that they did bring in one grown-up, in the form of Kevin Schade. The winger is on loan from Freiburg until the end of the season, the deal being expected to go permanent during the summer for what is likely to be a club record fee, part of which may have been increased by virtue of his having picked up his first couple of German caps during the international break. One should also mention a bit of a curiosity in the loan arrival of Romeo Beckham, who came in from Inter Miami 2, the second string of the club owned by his dad. It may be overstating it to suggest that Dad bought a club just to give his son a game, but the fact that the fullback couldn't get into the first 11 out in Florida and has been brought in to play for the Brentford B team suggests that skills may be on more of a level with his mum's musical talents than his dad's with a ball. They will of course be relying heavily, to a certain extent, on the skills of Ivan Toney. It's a matter of some debate as to whether Toney should actually be on the pitch at all at the moment. He was originally charged with betting on matches back in November, with further charges bringing the total up to 262 back in December. It appears he accepted some, but not all of the charges back in March, since when the authorities have done the square root of nothing at all. Surely they only have to find him guilty on one charge to issue a punishment. A ban of 6 months is being talked of, and of course it would suit Brentford no end if at least 2 months of that were to be served in closed season. Or maybe they're just going to treat it as annual leave so he can pick the games he misses, thus avoiding the need to go up to all those horrible northern places. Either way, the glacial speed with which the authorities are moving is incredible even by their standards. B's manager, in the meantime, when asked how he saw how Toney would progress, responded to the effect that the player would get, and I quote, better and better. I'd like to think that the choice of words was deliberate, but given English is an admittedly well-spoken second language for the decidedly German Thomas Frank, I suspect the double entendre was unintentional, more's the pity. Let's move on, shall we, to the wild and wacky world of association football. And with the vultures starting to circle over the not-fit-for-purpose PGMOL, Howard Webb has announced that next season the audio from the discussions between the on-pitch referees and VAR officials will be released after matches for discussion on TV. Referees, of course, will now be on their guard, so most of the help me out here mate conversations will be toned down or edited out. However, the plan should go some way to showing just how awful our officials really are. And with any luck, it will be a nail in the coffin of an organisation that's presided over the worst decline in referee standards ever seen in the history of world football. Elsewhere, Accrington Stanley defender Mitch Clark has gone on another level from Ivan Toney by having no fewer than 312 charges of betting levied against him. Be interesting to see how quickly Clark gets dealt with in comparison with Toney. In fact, I think I'll pop down to Winston the turf accountant and see if he'll open a book on which case gets opened first. Throw in the obnoxious Klopp's disciplinary hearing, which has been pending since the start of this month, and it could already be a 3-horse race. And so to us. Well, it was hard work, but the result was right in the end, the other night. I said in the first half to Maltese Hammer, who'd made the trip over, that we needed to get Ben Rama off the ball a lot more than we had done up to that point. A few occasions he did get to take on his fullback in the first half. He had him, as I believe the expression goes, on toast. Referee didn't help things much, seemingly trying for the record for the number of completely wrong decisions made in a single match not involving Mike Dean. Thankfully, even he couldn't ignore the attempted decapitation of Bowen by Ryan, who arguably might have walked. The penalty incident was worth a yellow for the reckless nature of the challenge, and he later picked up a deserved yellow for time wasting, for which he received his first warning as early as 13 minutes. Thankfully, we didn't have to rely on a referee trying to work out what handball is for once, as Antonio was alert enough to bundle the ball home to give us the lead after the ball was pushed off the line by a defender. When a team comes with the sole intention of damage limitation, sometimes you have to grind out a victory. Whilst they'll be happy to still be in the tie, the downside for them is that they'll need to be a bit more forthcoming in a manner that will suit us down to the ground in the second leg. On the injury front, Scamacca, who it appears couldn't be asked to watch his teammates in a major semi-final, is out, obviously. I wonder how sore that knee will be if we get through to the final. Soufal, on the other hand, whose attitude seems to be everything that Scamacca's isn't, has a chance of playing. But with safety pretty much assured, I wouldn't expect him to be risked with bigger fish to fry. Ogbonna has been unwell with the sickness bug everyone's been getting, whilst Antonio was hobbling a bit at the end of Thursday night. He's likely to be available, but may not be risked. So the prediction then. Well, much will depend on what sort of side we put out, I suppose. There being nothing on this game really, and it having little effect on anything of consequence elsewhere, I think that there will be some changes with a side more akin to that which started the cup tie here in January. Having said that, we won that one, so on reflection, I'll be taking the £2.50 that I was going to put on Klopp's disciplinary hearing being the first to be heard, and placing it instead on a draw. Make that a bet on 2-2, if you will, please, Mr. Winston. Enjoy the game.
James Corden.
Hi.
Big West Ham fan.
Yes. And big knees up Mother Brown, man.
Yeah.
Get on the forum at kumb.com. Come on, you irons.